At first, they looked like two separate tragedies. A schoolgirl goes missing in a quiet West Yorkshire town. A man is found dead on a remote island off the coast of Scotland. No connection, no overlap, just two different dots on a map. But now, new footage and recently unsealed interviews are revealing something that was buried. A pattern, a trail, a link that was either missed or ignored. The disappearance of Shannon Matthews was supposed to be solved. It was supposed to be over. But there is a piece missing, a piece that leads straight to Orkney, because someone who appears in both stories was never questioned. And one item found near the body in Orkney matches something that vanished from Shannon's file. This isn't theory. This is in the evidence. And if it's real, it means the Shannon Matthews case isn't just about a staged abduction. It's about someone who was moving between lives, between stories, and between crimes. So now the question is simple. What's the one clue that connects them both? And why did no one say anything until now? 9-year-old Shannon Matthews vanishes on her way home from school in Dewsbury, West Yorkshire. A massive search unfolds. Hundreds of officers, dozens of volunteers, sniffer dogs, helicopters. It becomes one of the biggest manhunts in British history. The public is gripped. Then 24 days later, she's found. Alive. Hidden in the base of a bed in a council flat. The man responsible, Michael Donovan. But he didn't act alone. Her own mother, Karen Matthews, staged the entire thing for a reward payout. The media went into meltdown. People stopped asking questions. Now rewind. 1994. 14 years earlier, a murder on the Orkney Islands. A quiet night. A man named Graham McClellan is shot and killed inside a coastal restaurant. No forced entry, no robbery, no motive, no arrests. Locals called it the island's one unsolved ghost. Two crimes, 2 decades apart. But what's surfacing now is a person who was near both. Someone who wasn't on any suspect list. And someone with a reason to keep both stories buried. The link didn't come from a police report. It didn't come from a news broadcast either. It came from a background face, a man who appears for just a few seconds in old footage. One clip from Orkney. One clip from Dewsbury. Same walk, same jacket, same person. But no one mentioned him. Not once. In 2008, he was seen near Shannon's school the day she disappeared. In 1994, he was seen outside the restaurant where Graham McClellan was killed. In both cases, he gave no statement. In both cases, he was written off as a witness, not a suspect, not a person of interest. Just no one. Until now. Because when the new Prime Video documentary team pulled footage from the archives, the timestamp revealed something odd. The man used different names. He gave one to the press in Dewsbury and another to police in Orkney. And both names don't exist in any UK census or national record. So who is he? And what does he know that no one else does? The hidden clue wasn't in the footage. It was in something much smaller, something most people missed. In the Orkney case, there was a napkin found near the body, folded, blood-stained and torn. On it, a child's drawing, crayon, purple and green. A stick figure standing next to a tree with the words, "I want to go home," scribbled underneath. Back then, it was dismissed. The victim had no children. There were no kids at the scene. Police assumed it was trash blown in by the wind. But in 2008, after Shannon Matthews was found, her school notebook was taken into evidence. And inside one of the pages, that same phrase, same handwriting, same colors, same exact drawing. "I want to go home." The timeline doesn't make sense. The connection was never made, not until the documentary team reviewed both crime scenes side by side. And now, for the first time, someone is asking out loud, how did a napkin with Shannon's drawing end up at a murder scene 14 years before she was even born? Her name was Flora McNeil. She worked at the restaurant in Orkney in 1994. Just part-time, only on weekends. She was there the night Graham McClellan was killed. She's never spoken publicly. Not in 30 years. But in the new documentary, she finally breaks her silence. And what she says doesn't match the original police report. Flora remembers a man sitting alone at table 6. Tall, quiet, never ordered food. He just sat, watching people. When she brought him water, he asked if they had a children's menu. But there were no children there. Not that night. Not ever, really. It was an adults-only reservation list. She told the police at the time, but the detail wasn't included in the final report. She thought maybe she was wrong. Maybe it was nothing. But when she watched the Shannon Matthews documentary, she froze. Because the man at table 6, she swears it was the same man seen near Shannon's school in 2008. Same eyes, same stare, same voice. And now, after all these years, she's asking the same thing we are. Who was he really? And how many stories has he been hiding inside? There was one file in the Orkney investigation that was never released to the public, labeled Irregular Witness Report Redacted. It stayed sealed for nearly 3 decades, until a legal request by the documentary team forced it open. Inside, a single-page statement, handwritten, no signature. It described a man seen leaving the restaurant through the back door, not running, walking. He carried something under his coat, a soft shape, wrapped in what looked like fabric. The witness said it looked like a sleeping child. That report was never followed up. The witness was never named, and the page was pulled from the main file before it was archived. The reason? According to a former detective who spoke off record, it was dismissed because, quote, there were no children involved and no one missing. But now there's a problem, because that report matches another one buried in the Shannon Matthews timeline. An anonymous call to the hotline made 4 days before she was found. The caller described a man moving a child in the early hours of the morning wrapped in blankets near a delivery yard. Same description, same behavior, same man. 2 places, 14 years apart. One hidden report. So why was it buried? They called him the man with no name, because every record tied to him leads nowhere. The name he gave in Orkney, not in any database. The one he used near Shannon's estate, also fake. No birth certificate, no tax file, no national insurance number. But he does show up again and again in the background. 3 grainy CCTV frames in total. One outside the restaurant in 1994. One near Dewsbury Moor Primary in 2008. And a third never released to the press from a bus depot in 2005. In each clip, he's just watching, never interacting, just there on the edge of things. The documentary team ran facial recognition across all 3 sightings. The match came back at 96%, but with no ID to compare to, that's where it ends. Police never reopened either case. And when investigators tried to trace his face through government databases, the system flagged something strange. 2 images, same face, different names had been deleted from local authority files in 2009. Both deletions were unauthorized. Both were traced to a terminal in Leeds. Someone, somewhere, didn't want this man on record. and no one's been able to explain why. Not the police, not social services, not even the councils involved in either case. So now all we have are three images and a trail that was quietly erased. The footage isn't long, just under 4 seconds. A slow pan across the front of the restaurant in Orkney taken by a tourist with a handheld camcorder. It was never submitted as evidence. It sat on a shelf mislabeled until this year. In the left corner of the frame, just for a moment you see him. The same man, standing in the shadows behind a stack of crates, not moving, not smoking, not part of the scene. And then, as the camera shifts, he steps back, disappears behind the wall. When the footage is enhanced, something becomes clearer. He's not alone. There's a shape beside him. It's low to the ground, still wrapped in something light-colored. You can't see a face, but there's movement. A twitch of the foot, a shoulder shifting. Whatever or whoever was beside him, they were alive. That part was cut from the original broadcast edit. Too blurry, they said, too inconclusive. But now, for the first time, we're seeing it in full. And the people who've watched it aren't asking what happened anymore. They're asking who knew and why they stayed quiet for so long. In 2009, just months after the Shannon Matthews trial ended, a woman from Northumberland contacted local police. She didn't give her name. She didn't trust the system. But what she said was specific. She claimed her daughter had once been approached by a man outside a market in Morpeth. Tall, quiet, wore a gray coat with no labels. He didn't touch the child. He just asked her, "Have you ever been to Orkney?" The girl told her mother. The mother reported it. The police filed it as a non-incident. No follow-up, no questions. But in that same statement, the woman mentioned something else. She said she recognized the man's face not from the news, not from town, but from a photo shown to her by a social worker during a safeguarding interview 2 years earlier. She remembered the face, but not the name, because the name on the file had been blacked out. That's the moment everything stalled. Her complaint went nowhere. Her notes were never added to any case file, and when she tried to follow up the officer she spoke to had been reassigned. So we're left with this. One blurry face, one redacted name, and one mother who tried to raise the alarm before anyone was listening. This case is no longer just about a missing girl or a body in a restaurant. It's about the cracks between two timelines, the silences that were never questioned, the redactions that were never explained. What happens now? The footage is out. The napkin has been confirmed as evidence. The faces match, but there's still no investigation, no press conference, no arrest. The man with no name has vanished again. No news sightings, no updates, and the public, still focused on the headlines from 15 years ago, staged kidnapping, benefit fraud, media scandal. But none of that explains why the same figure kept showing up. Watching, listening, following. There's a missing link between these two crimes, and someone, somewhere, still knows what it is. So now it's your turn. Look at the images, listen to the recordings, follow the path they never did, and then ask yourself the only question that matters. If this was just a coincidence, why did someone work so hard to cover it up?